Okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for taking the time to get on. It's good to see you guys. Just wanted to give a big warm welcome to Amy Schur, who's a district manager on Amy Champion's team. Congratulations for your promotion. We're so excited you're here. Um, I just wanted to gather you guys together a little bit. There's like been a couple things that I feel like are across the board on our region team. And I'm like, okay, I want to address everything all at one time and then kind of work forward. And then I want to get your feedback and your thoughts on a few things. So I'm just going to jump right in so that we can, I know that it's like middle of the afternoon or it's dinner time. It's like terrible time for a lot of people, but thank you seriously for being on. And you may want to, if you have notes, this might be a note-taking call. I think that it is. I think it's good enough to take notes on, but I guess y'all can be the judges of that. But I wanted to give you some practicals on how to help your team as well as have your own practicals, because there are so many who are signing up new people. And I don't know, I just have really been sensing with a lot of my new consultants who are either new districts or not district manager yet, that I need to be giving them more practicals, because I feel like they don't necessarily know what to do sometimes, and I just want to make sure. I feel like I'm getting the sense that that's kind of like a struggle going on around all of our teams. So I wanted to help you out with that and kind of give you a Strat 101 session. And this, I know we do strats at the beginning of the month, but this goes for all throughout the month. When your team is coming to you, or you're doing a mid-month strat, or you're just now sponsoring, or whatever it may be, these are some things of how the questions that you can ask them and how we get people started off strong, but also how we identify if there have been any roadblocks, how we can identify that. So I just wanted to help your team and just kind of have like some practicals for you. And when I was doing my strat with Carrie and Lindsay this month, these were some of the things that we talked about, and some things that Carrie did with me that I'm like, I really just need to duplicate that. So this is just the first one. It's just like my personal, it's just a huge pet peeve. If I sense that this isn't going on when like someone's stratting with me, I get like really annoyed, and so I make sure that I do it with you guys. But the first tip that I have is do not multitask. When you are stratting with someone, or when you're trying to help somebody on your team figure things out, try to be 100% present. Don't be, don't be on your phone. Don't be on Facebook. Don't be checking text messages. Just be 100% present to them. It really helps them know that they're being listened to. It really helps you catch things and pick up on things. And just overall, that's just kind of what we want to be. That we want to be giving our teams our entire self, when we're chatting with them. So whether it's 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes, don't multitask, be 100% present to them. And I always take notes. I always take notes when I'm doing strats, and when I'm chatting with people, that I can remember what they said, and I have it to reference for the next time that we talk. But it also will help you. I mean, writing things out, this is why we take notes in college and everything. It helps with you taking that in and not forgetting it as soon as they say it. And it also helps you if they're just kind of, telling you tons of things at one time. It helps you have something to reference and go back to, as opposed to them saying something important, then we forget about it because they've said 10 other things since then. So number one, don't multitask, be completely present. Number two, the thing that you guys have probably picked up on that I do, which it's kind of funny to talk to you guys about how to do a strat, because you're going to be like, oh yeah, I know you do this with me. But what I always want to do is I ask people, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you feeling about last month? How are you feeling about, starting out this month? And the reason that I do that is because, I'm such a practical person. I usually just want to jump right into the practicals. Like, okay, cool. I know you want to finish district, or I know you want to be area. Like, here's how you do it. Let me just map it out for you. But what I've learned is that most of the time people have something that they want to talk through first. And if their mindset needs to be worked through a little bit, you can give practicals all day long. But if they're not in the place to receive it, it's going to be a wasted time and a wasted opportunity to really help them at the core. And so a lot of times, they'll just say like, well, I'm feeling really, really great. We're coming off such a high, I'm feeling really good about this next month. Or they'll say, I don't really know. I feel like last month was really hard. And if they say that, if someone's telling you, confiding in you, that they feel like last month was hard or they ran up against some things, don't blow over it. Don't be like, no worries. Like, we're just going to pick right back up. I mean, it is true. We're going to pick right back up. But ask a couple more questions so that like, what was it that was hard? Was it that they did a lot of activity and they didn't see enough fruit? Was it that they did everything they could to get activity and they didn't get any there? Was it that there's a funky dynamic going on with their team? Figure out like what are they working through so that they're starting this month in a good mindset. Like, help them work through that mindset so that they're in a good, healthy place. So, and I really do feel like that's really, really huge, so that we are in tune with where someone's at. Because a lot of people are not going to be like, hey, glad that we're talking. I'm not doing well, Maybe if we know them and they've been around for a little bit, they'll be comfortable enough to say that. But especially when you have new people, they're not going to just sit there and tell you how they're doing. So you always want to ask, how are you doing and how do you feel about everything? Number 3 is ask them, what do they feel like was working well their past month, and what do they want to get better at? And another way that people word this is, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? I don't word it that way, because I feel like if someone feels like they have a weakness, it's a mindset. Like, I have a weakness. Oh my gosh, I have a weakness here. And they'll sit with it. As opposed to if you say, what do we want to work on? What do we want to get better at? Because that just sounds like the possibilities are endless, yeah, I want to work on this. It's overcomable. It's not a weakness. It's not something that's going to hold me back. I didn't have the results that I wanted, but I'm going to work on that. It just kind of, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I feel like it just really is a whole lot better, and it presents itself in a much better way, and is much easier for people to have a positive outlook on what they feel like didn't go well. As opposed to being like, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at this one thing. So ask them what they feel like a strength, or what they feel like they did well, what's going really, really well, and what do they want to work on. And that's also good for you to know too, like if someone feels like they're really clicking on something and something is really working, whatever's working great on their team, those are people that you can ask to train on certain things, so you want to know, what do they feel super good about, because maybe they can do something on your area call or your district call or whatever it may be. Okay, then after you've asked all these questions, and usually at this point you have a pretty good feeling of where they're at, and what they're looking for and all those kinds of things. This is where I kind of take some time and just pour some beliefs and some vision in, and I just say, those are some great points. I agree. Like, that's a really great thing that you guys have got going on in your team. Definitely think that's going well for you. That's okay. Let's work on this. Like, absolutely. Like, we can work on that. Here's, I want to get into some practicals for that. But can I just tell you real quick about where how big of a month I feel like you could have, or where I see your team going, or despite the setbacks, here's what I see for you, or you guys are in such momentum. This is what you can accomplish as you keep going with that momentum. This is where you take the time to really pour belief into them and paint a vision for them. And it doesn't have to be long, 30 seconds of you as their leader telling them what you see for them, and blowing the walls off of like some sort of compartmentalized idea that they may have of what they could do this month. A lot of people, they just need to know. I need to know from my upline, like Lauren, this is what we see. This is the possibility for you this month. Did you know that? Did that even cross your mind? You know, we have to, because we always see the best in our team. They don't see that in themselves. So we have to show them, this is what I see for you. So this is your chance as the leader to paint a really huge vision. To believe big for your team and to help them believe big for themselves. Because that's all that it is. As soon as they round the corner and they start believing big for themselves, the activity follows from that. So when they, you know, at that point, you know, they'll say, well, this is what I want to go for, or that's what I wanted to go for, but I was scared of it. But if you actually think I can do it, then I'll do it. You know, that kind of thing. Then you head into the practicals. Because they've bought into the vision, you know, or they're already there with you. So then that leads me to the fifth tip for starting and coaching your team is to show them how. Just show them how to do it, you know. And this is something that a lot of times we complicate, and but a lot of times, even when I'm trying to keep it simple, I feel like my new business builders feel like they're drinking water from a fire hose. You know, they're like, you know, I've got to book parties, and I've got to talk to people about, you know, joining my team, and I've got to order my own stuff, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And it all stems from this, like, how many people list? Oh my gosh, you know, and they're just like super, super overwhelmed. So try to really, like, as you've talked through, you know, as you've talked with them, you get like a feeling of where they're at. If there's someone who's like, they're ready to go and they're like, give it to me, like, I give it all to them, you know. This is what we want. To keep it very simple, you want to get 8 parties, and we want to have 2 or 3 people join your team. You know, that's it. And then we'll go into the how-tos. And I say, you know, now how we're going to get there, both of these lists, you know, the party list and the team list, that can come from this one big master list, and we call it a 100-person list, you know. And so you kind of like weave it back in as like, it's not this like overwhelming, complicating thing. You're going to be focusing on 2 things, and from those 2 things, you've got this one sheet that you're working from, you know. So that really helps them know the purpose of what they're doing with this list of names anyways. You know, why are they creating this list anyways? What are they going to talk to them about? Who needs to be on there? All that comes from you just really simplifying it. Show them how, and don't be afraid to show them how. And a lot of times, like, and Carrie and I talked about this last week, and she was like, you know, make sure that your leaders have this mindset of like, really, really going big and coaching big. And she said, sometimes we have what we call the incredible shrinking business. And she's like, where we start out with like this big goal, and they're like, well, I need to be home with my kids, or I need $2,000 a month. And we're like, okay, cool. Like, that's area manager. You know, here's how we help you qualify for area the first month. And then they freak out and they are like, I don't think I could do that. I don't have time. I don't know enough people, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to go for qualification. And we're like, okay, that's fine. Distant qualification is great. You know, like, whatever. Carrie's like, you know, be completely honest with them. $1,000 to $2,000 a month every month is not great. She's like, you know, like, that's not what we want. That is not going to get you to district manager. You know, what you have to do is say, you know, listen, I know it sounds overwhelming, you know, and I'm sorry if I didn't word that as well as I needed to, but it is really a simple business. If you could just stick with me, I'm just going to simplify it for you so that you can still get what I know that you want, but you won't be overwhelmed. And we're going to work through this, you know, just kind of like walk with them. But instead of shrinking back to the goal because we're afraid that they're going to get overwhelmed, don't do that. Don't have this incredible shrinking business, you know. Have the incredible blossoming, like everything's always growing, you know. And what the key to that is that their vision will grow and your business will blossom. Your business builders will grow when they know how to hit a goal and hit it. When they hit goals right off the bat, they'll be willing to go for another one the next month. And this is where we need to get really, really, really good, because we're really good at sponsoring. As a region, we've gotten really, really good at sponsoring. We need to show people how to be successful, really, really successful once they have sponsored, because that's where once we have sponsored them, because that's what's going to create that security in your business so that you're not consistently, it's not like a consistent revolving door. And no matter what you do, some people are going to join and they're going to drop off. You know, I just had someone come over to my house today who I'd sponsored a couple months ago, and she was just like, I'm just, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore, blah, 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 blah. You know, like took like an hour of my time telling me all the reasons why she didn't want to do it. You know, whatever. Like I didn't do anything differently with her than I did with other people. So it's not for, you know, I'm not being like, oh my gosh, if you've had a revolving door, it's something that you've done wrong. It could just be the people. But, you know, if we show people what to do when they first sign up and then they do it and they hit it, you guys, that momentum, you're not going to be trying to create a momentum with them. They're going to be on their own momentum wave, and they're going to be bringing other people along with them. So what that does is it evens out your workload as a leader, because you're not having to like pour into absolutely everybody. You're pouring into your leaders. Suddenly you have a leader because they've bought in to what you said. You showed them how to do it. They did it, and their belief is sky high. And something that Sam said to me, like maybe a month ago, about like someone had told another leader elsewhere that they needed to, you know, the general needs to be with their troops, basically being like, you know, you're a vice president, but you're not everyone on the team feels like they know you personally, you know, and Sam goes, but a general isn't always with his troops. A general has his leaders that he coaches and trains, and he shows them the action plan. They pour into their troops. Not one person can pour into absolutely everybody. There's just no way we can do that. But if you are really smart with the people who you've directly sponsored and you show them that they are the leader of their own little platoon, you know, they're the leader of their own little group, it's going to alleviate, you're going to get so much more done. You're going to have immediate leaders, and your business is going to grow, and they're going to be coming with you, you know? So if you feel like you're doing absolutely everything, we've got it. What we need to identify is who are the leaders, who do we need to bring up to be leaders, and help them lead their own teams so that you're not doing it all for them. So I feel like that was kind of a tangent, but all that was to say is showing them how, you know, painting this big vision and then showing them how, and touching base with them consistently. How are you doing? How are you feeling? You know, constantly be asking people, how are you feeling? You know, let them talk to you. Keep that door open. It's almost like with your kids, you know, you want to consistently be asking them questions so that they feel like they can tell you what they're actually feeling. But most people on your team, and I guess in our families, they're not going to walk up and be like, I have a problem with this. I don't feel good about this. We have to ask. And so if you're consistently asking, keeping the pulse there, you're going to be able to identify if there are any problems, and you can, like, you know, stop it really quick before they spend too much time doing something that maybe was fixable. And also they're going to, you know, you're cultivating that relationship with them. So anyway, I hope that was kind of part one. That was kind of, you know, here's some practicals on how you can help lead your teams, just because, like I said, there is so much new growth going on. And I know for me, I would have loved, as a new area manager, to have someone say, okay, this is what a strat session should look like, you know, instead of like kind of wading through it. I probably did so many wrong, I probably took so many wrong turns and so many bad things. And now I feel like, you know, this is a good thing to do. But I wanted just to give you that. Here's how you can help your team. Here's how you can kind of keep a pulse and create that momentum with them. But I also wanted to give you your own practicals. As leaders, as people who have hit district manager or area manager, you know, district is wonderful and area is wonderful, and, you know, even region's wonderful. But as we heard in that training, being an area manager producing machine, like, why would we stop at any of these three levels when we could go nation, you know? And so not that I'm thinking like everybody's going to go nation this month or something like that. You're probably thinking, no, that's my job, and it is, and I'm taking it seriously. But what I've really been chatting with a lot of you guys about is, like, as you're going district and area, or as you're going area and region, because if you're all districts, you're working on area. If you're area, you're working on region. I wanted to give you practicals on what that looks like, because I think a lot of times, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but like the yo-yo business thing happens a lot, where it's like, maybe we'll have a great month and we'll get into like, you know, someone will have like super high volume, and then the next month something like there's like a drop off, a drastic drop off, you know? And the reason that I think that that happens is because we're focused more on the numbers as opposed to the team that we're creating to get to the promotion that we're working towards. And it's not just about, you know, if you're going area manager, I don't even want to talk about, I mean, not that I want to talk about it because it's numbers and we need to, but it doesn't, like 10,000, I don't even really want to talk about that. I want to help you create the area that will go way beyond 10,000, so that you're creating, so really when you're working on area, you're creating your region team, so that you don't get to area, you don't get to the next step and look around and be like, I don't know what to do here. You know, I've been working on this so long, now I don't know what to do here, you know, as an area manager. And I don't want you to think that as a region too, but if you're always thinking 2 steps ahead, the next step gets taken care of in the process. So, and I know a lot of us have talked about this month in your own strategy sessions, but I want to show you that really like, and like we're in the business of creating, and we're always bringing in new life. Everything is new. And something that has just really been sitting with me as I've been praying over this Zoom is, you know, if you've tried hard for something and you've fallen short, let it go. Like totally let it go. Let the past be the past. If you've fallen off the wagon, that doesn't mean stop the journey, you know? Let it go and move on. We have all had things that have been difficult to work through. We've all had months that didn't go the way that we wanted it to go. But we're not supposed to carry all that baggage and all the things that weren't working. We're not supposed to, like, you know, carry that with us into the next month. The only thing that we need to bring with us is what is working, you know, and where we want to go in that vision. So again, like if you feel like you've tried and fallen short, let it go. The past is the past. If you've fallen off the wagon, that doesn't mean stop the journey, you know? So just let all the negativity go. And this is something that I kind of, you know, I've been thinking of to myself. It's a question I've been asking for myself going nation, because I feel like I've been going, but I'm also, if I were to be still and quiet, I would hear like maybe some doubts or maybe some this or some that. And so it's a question that I'm asking myself every night, and I'm just journaling it out, and I'm uncovering so many chinks in the armor that I didn't realize that I had. So I want to ask you, like, what do you need to leave in the past? Like, I don't, you know, before we talk about moving forward and before we talk about, you know, your next promotion, all those kinds of things, is there anything that you've been taking from month to month to month that you just need to leave in the past? Is there something you've been dragging with you that needs to just stay there? And you guys, it could be anything. It could be someone on your team, to be honest. You could have someone who's totally weighing you down, whose, you know, actions are not matching their words, and you keep pouring all this time into them and you're not getting anywhere with them. And, you know, or maybe it's that you have someone who's like super, super negative, you know, on your team. And, you know, I don't know. I just know that there have been people that I was just like really pouring into that never made it to the district manager level, but I spent months, I'm talking months, and so much energy and effort trying to help them, when really, when I finally just let it go and let it be, you know, I'm not saying like drop people like they're a hot potato or something like that, but I'm just saying if their actions aren't matching their words and they're still asking more from you, there could be a little, like a level of dependence there, emotional, you know, crossing a barrier, or they're looking more for you than what you need to be, you know, like really take a look at your team and where you're spending time. Is there anyone that maybe, you know, you just kind of need to back away from? It could be maybe you need to let go of some of, you know, the people that you've been trying to get through to who just aren't coming through, who keep telling you, yes, I'll have a party. Yes, I want to, you know, do coffee. Yes, I want to do this. And they keep kind of dragging you along. And every month you bring them into the next month being like, well, maybe this month we'll have a party. Maybe this month she'll join my team, you know, but really you're just doing all this effort and they're just a no. they're just not going to tell you that, So it could be, it could be a list of people that you're just like, you know what? I'm leaving that list in the past. This is not the list that I'm working from anymore. I'm not getting anywhere from this list. And the reason why we don't leave, stagnant business builders or lists of people or lists of clients or whatever, the reason why we don't leave them a lot of the times is because we're scared to look at something blank. And we're like, but if I didn't have these people, then I have nothing. That's okay. Maybe you don't have anything and you just think that you do. That has been my reality so many times. I'm like, if I were to drop this, if I weren't to call them, I would have no one to call. And that completely freaks me out, but I've had to come to my senses so many times and just look at it and be like, I don't have the team that's coming with me. I don't have the clients that I need. I need to meet more people, and I'm not in a good network, and kind of calling it for what it is. So maybe I don't want to like put words in your mouth. Like you may not need to leave anything in the past, but sometimes it's really helpful to be like, okay, this isn't working and I'm going to leave it there. It also could be a mentality. It could be, you may need to leave behind micromanaging and inactivity. That's a really huge thing. A lot of times when people are, they're already a district manager or area manager or even a vice president, but they're not getting to where they need to be. A lot of times they're just spending so much energy micromanaging other people and they're not doing the activity themselves. And that is not going to get anybody anywhere. So that could be something, it could be fear, it could be laziness, bad habits. I don't know. But whatever it is, identify what it is. Forgive whoever needs to be forgiven if need be, forgive those clients, forgive that business builder, forgive yourself, like whatever it is, and then just move on. So anyway, as we're, I just wanted to, that was just really coming up big in my heart as I was preparing for this. I was leaving the past in the past and moving forward. So I hope that's helpful for you. But once we've done that, the second thing is, let's be really coachable. And I want to say this and not have anybody feel like they're not coachable or that I'm thinking of them when I said this or something like that. There's no one in my mind that I'm thinking of as I say this next thing, just so you know. But for some reason, when I was praying over what to say, this is what came up. But if you are not having parties, if you're not having group presentations, if you are not sponsoring people and you're not doing one-on-ones every month, then you aren't being coachable, because this is the only thing that our upline is going to tell us to do. I've been told at every promotion that I've hit, you need to do more presentations, you need to sponsor more people. It's two things, it was not rocket science to me. When I finally decided to be coachable, actually doing that, like make it happen no matter what, I promote. It's like, it's crazy how I sit there thinking that I'm going to hear something new, But you guys, a coachable person hears the truth of what to do, believes it, and then does it. So I'm sitting here telling you, truly, if you have 8 group presentations, if you sponsor 2 people a month, and you do that and duplicate that and do it consistently, I promise you, you will be a regional vice president 4 months from now. If you do those 2 things, have 8 presentations, sponsor 2 people every month consistently, teach them how to do the exact same thing, the numbers just happen. So that is the truth. That's the absolute truth. A coachable person is going to hear that and believe it. They're not going to come back and say, no, that's not true because, what about this? What about that? Or this doesn't work for me, or that doesn't work, or da-da-da-da. Like, yeah, there are some things that we need to make personal to each person, and we need to kind of personalize things. And, if group presentations aren't working, we do more of this or whatever. Yes, absolutely. But we're focusing on activity. And basically a lot of times we make a lot of excuses for ourselves, and we're basically saying activity doesn't work for me, and that's not true. It's just the way that we're going about the activity. So you have to hear it and believe it. And when I'm telling you, if you do this, I promise you this is going to get you to where you want to be. believe that that's the truth, and then just do it. And then a leader, when you become a leader, you duplicate it. So first we're coachable, and then we become a coachable leader, and we duplicate everything, all of the truths that have been passed on to us. If you're telling your team, once again, this is just something that came to me. It's not that I'm thinking of anybody in particular. I'm just looking at myself in the past, but if you're telling your team what to do and you aren't doing it yourself, then you're not a leader. You're an instructor. Okay, you're instructing people, but you're not leading them. And I saw this when I went to visit my parents. I always see many things, lots of insights when I go for a nice little family visit. But I hate it because I'm like, I'm not critical of my parents. But, we just spent a week at home with my parents. I have one brother still in high school, 2 siblings that are still in college. And I saw my dad on his iPad and on his phone losing his ever-loving mind at my brothers. Being every time y'all sit here in this room, you're on your phones and you're on your iPads. Put it down and listen to everybody. And he was so mad. And so they put their phones down. Dad sits over there like this. Nothing changed. He just got so upset with them that they weren't listening to him. He's like, I've told you all the rules, no iPads past 8 o'clock, we're going to have family time. Literally everyone sat in the room, put down their iPads and their phones, except for my dad. And no one, it was so awkward. And I was like, Dad, oh my gosh, what are you doing? He wasn't doing that. He was just telling them to do it. I guarantee, and, to see my siblings reactions, and they confided in me. They're like, it's so annoying when he does that, because he never does what he's telling us to do. And he says that it drives him crazy. But if it really drives him crazy, why is he doing it? And it didn't inspire them at all. And they definitely are not, they didn't have warm fuzzies towards my dad after, all of that. And they say that it happens all the time. But I promised you, and my brother Adam was like, Lauren, if he put his down and he was like, hey, I said that we want family time, let's play a game, or let's do this, or let's all watch a movie or something. He was like, that would be so cool. I would actually love to do that. But I don't know what game Dad wants to play. And honestly, when he loses his mind at us, I don't want to play with him. I don't want to talk to him. I'm not inspired at all. So all this to say is that a lot of times we can do the exact same thing. And we can say, you guys, all you need to do this, you need to do this. And, this is a system for success. If we're not doing that, and, those people are just going to end up getting frustrated. They're going to realize we're not doing it ourselves, And so we don't want to be instructors. We want to be leaders. We want to be saying, hey, I'm already here. This is the vision that I see. This is where we're going. I want you to come with me. I'm doing it with you, I'm here doing it with you. How annoying would it be if I was sitting here telling you guys, you need a sponsor, you need to do parties, and you knew I was just going to put, we're going to be done with this region Zoom, and I'm going to put away my 100 person list and go watch TV or something like that. That'd be so annoying, but that you can trust me because I'm doing this with you. I'm in the trenches with you. And I'm also, when you're in the trenches with your troops, lots of military references coming up, but when you're in the trenches with your troops, what they're coming against. So you can identify with them. If they're saying, hey, I'm getting this error message, or I'm getting this, or I'm getting that, and you haven't tried to enter orders and you're not hitting the exact same problem, you're not going to know at all what they're talking about. What's this or what that. You have to be in there with them, going before them, experiencing the issues before them so that you can work through them and show them how to do that. And I'm almost done, you guys. This is taking way longer than I thought that it would. I'm really, really sorry. But going back to that term of creating it. So creating the team that you're going for. So once you've worked on leaving the past in the past, and you've worked on being coachable, and you worked on being a leader, not an instructor, this is when you can really create your region team. Don't look at your current team and say, okay, if this person does this, and this person does this, and this person does this, and there'll be a region or an area or whatever it may be that you're working on. If they have been in the system for longer than 30 or 60 days, you can see a trend. You know what they're actually going to do. Okay. So until someone says something and then does something, you have to look at the trend, okay, as opposed to what they're saying. And that was something that Alyssa Levitt said in that training that I sent to you guys that was really, really huge for me, like looking at the trend. So most of the, I mean, all the time when we're going for promotion, we don't have the team that we need to get there yet, which is really kind of exciting because you get to really like do some dreaming and some envisioning, and then you sponsor to match that vision. And by the way, just backtracking like 2 minutes. If you've been saying like, I want to go area or I want to go region, I'm not looking at you being like, oh, well, her trend is this, so I don't think, like, I'm not saying that at all to you guys. I completely know and trust that we're going to get to where you want to be. But anyway, just saying that. I don't want anybody to get insecure suddenly or something like that. But, dig deep and see like what kind of team do you want to create? What kind of team do you want to sponsor? And go create that team. And then I want you to get like 10 to 15 people who you really do want to work with. Really, really, really. Have they heard from you why they would be good at this business and why you want them with them? Why you want them with you? That's your region team right there. They just need to be asked. We just need to do more asking. I want you to dig deep and show yourself that you can do it. If you're hearing 8 presentations a month and sponsoring 2 people and you're thinking, your immediate thought is, I don't know if I can do that, dig deep, make it happen so that you're proving to yourself that you can. And I promise you, if you do it once, you can do it twice, you can do it 3 times, and people are going to duplicate it. Let's see. And then the last thing, as far as like building your region team, you're going to be looking for, I want you to keep thinking in your head, I need 4 leaders. I need 4 leaders. That's all you're looking for. You may have 6 district managers, but only 4 leaders, or you may have 4 districts and 4 leaders. Who knows what it is? But if you go about it and say like, I'm looking for 4 leaders, I'm going to, here's my list of people, like 4 of these 15 names are going to be leaders on my team, and I'm going to take them with me to the top of Arbonne. If you have 4 leaders, you're going to be naturally hitting your area bonus every single month, because even when someone is barely tapping into their leadership potential, they're bonusing their district every month. 4 people bonusing district is $20,000. That doesn't even take into account your PRV and your dabbler's PRV. So I want you to really simplify everything, down. You're not looking for everybody with a beating heart. You're not looking for people with, lifeblood. You're looking for 4 leaders. And I want you to go create that team of those 4 leaders. And along the way, you're going to sponsor people who you think are a leader, and they're not going to be. That's okay. But when you're doing your bubble chart and you're drawing yourself at the top and you have those 4 circles underneath, you're going to be filling in those circles because you're being intentional about what you're creating. And you're not just randomly doing things. You're being intentional and you're creating that team. So be intentional with everything. Be intentional with your prospecting. Be intentional with your booking. Like I am booking 8 parties with the intention of going area. Or I'm booking 8 parties with the intention of going region. I'm sponsoring this person with the intention of them being part of my region team. Be intentional with your coaching. Do not back down from someone's goals. If you see them waver, they're looking to you. They may be wavering, but they're looking to you to like saying, do you still believe in me? Do you still think I can do this? So when someone flinches, you don't flinch as the leader. You lead them and you say, no, this is where we're still going. I believe in you. Here's what to do. Take this step next. Here's the next step. Just take it. And then also be intentional with your time. Make sure that there's no fluff. Write down what you're going to do. At the end of each day, write down the things that you're going to do the next day and when you're going to do them. That way you can be 100% present to the rest of your family, of your life. You can do Arbonne, then you can let it be where it is. But when you're intentional with your time and where you're spending it, you're going to see so many more results. And you're going to feel so much more healthy about it as opposed to trying to do, 2 things throughout the entire day. You know, it never gets done, you know. If you say, I'm going to do these 5 things during this 30 minutes, I promise you it's going to get done and your business is going to grow. So you guys, that was supposed to be 25 minutes. I don't even know. I would love to talk about like maybe doing a hot potato challenge with you. Let's see who's still on. So we have 7 people still on. I'm going to stop the recording, and then maybe whoever's still on, if you guys have time, we can chat about it a little bit. If not, we can just start a Facebook thread about it. But thank you for listening so far. I'm going to stop this recording. And whoever's listening to a recording, thank you for listening.